Hey folks, it's Florida Deer. Today we're going to be talking about my 2013 F-150. And we're going to talk about why this specific F-150 is more special than most F-150s, other than because it's my F-150. And part of that is, or at least one indicator of that, is the 7-lug wheels. As most F-150s have 6 lugs, this particular one has 7. You'd be hard-pressed to find another 7-lug F-150 in the next week or month because they're just particularly rare. And I think part of that is because when people buy trucks today, they basically buy a family car with a bed. And to be quite honest with you, that's what my truck is too. A family truck with a bed, but it's a family truck with a serious bed. So what's the difference between this F-150 and most? Well, for one, it's a crew cab with a 6.5-foot bed. Most F-150s, by and large, new or old, have 5.5-foot beds. And this became a thing in the middle model year of the 97 to 04s, and I think is the first year of the crew cab in the F-150. They started having this 5.5-foot bed, so they could, put it on the same platform, I guess, as a 6.5-foot bed super cab. So now you can get this vehicle with a 6.5-foot bed without the payload package, but this particular one comes with the payload package. And with the payload package comes upgraded shocks, upgraded springs. You'll see that there's 3 springs in this F-150 where there's 2 springs in most F-150s. It comes with a 9.75 rear differential with 373 traction lock, or electronic limited slip, whatever you want to call it. It comes with an upgraded radiator, and it comes up with also an auxiliary oil cooler for the transmission as well. So these are the upgrades over the standard F-150. So you really can't see most of them. They're not that cool, they're not like leather seats or any fancy items like that. I don't have any of that. I have an XLT trim package, so it's just above the bottom level. And so what that means is that I can tow about the same as a normal F-150, pretty close anyways. The difference is the payload package. So I can haul anywhere from 700 to probably 1,000 more pounds than the average F-150. So those are the benefits to this particular truck. So this particular F-150 has a 5-liter V8 in it. I did get a chance to test drive the 3.5-liter EcoBoost, which was probably just a hair faster than the 5.0. But although it also came with a crew cab 6.5-foot bed, it did not have this heavy-duty payload package. So that was a no-brainer. Plus, this is America, baby. We like our V8s. And this is not to smash the V6 EcoBoost guys. Those are nice engines too. But I just prefer the simplicity of the V8. I don't tow or haul in high elevations, so the forced induction engine is not going to have as big an advantage as it might in that kind of climate. So there's that. So it's been a really good truck. I've owned it for about 5 years now. Definitely the best Ford truck I've had as far as capability. I always did like my 96 Ranger as far as reliability. That was a great little truck. Had that one for about 12 years. And then I had another 02 F-150 for about, I think, 9 years. So this one I intend to keep a good long time. It has 163,000 miles on it right now, and 8 years old, so it's about 20,000 a year. And I'll go over some of the pros and some of the cons One of the pros is obviously the engine. It's reliable, pretty straightforward. It has a weird engine capacity for oil, which is 7.7. That's my only complaint about it so far. It's just weird to have 7.7 quarts. Another benefit is it just basically can haul and tow anything that I've ever wanted to tow with it or haul with it, and it has a very open and spacious cab. I mean, I take real estate customers around often enough, and they remark about how much space is in the cab, so I can haul my kids' stuff in there, and so that's really good. Some of the drawbacks is that it's, well, large, at a 157-inch wheelbase with not a great turning radius. It's a little hard to park. When you're towing with it, it does get thirsty, probably 11, 12 miles to the gallon. Sometimes it'll dip even to the 10 miles to the gallon. It does have a 36-gallon tank, so I can go about 550 miles without any issues, without having between fill-ups, so that's good, although each of the fill-ups is pretty heavy duty. And I think those are my only real complaints about it. It's been a pretty good truck for me so far, and I'll kind of get into the history and the specs of this particular package from the late 90s to the current time. So this particular package actually started as an entirely different truck. That really wasn't an entirely different truck. It was an F-150 light duty. So supposedly it had a beefier frame, upgraded brakes, which are two things that the later package didn't have. But I'll get into that in a minute. Eventually, they changed it back to an F-150. There was probably some level of confusion, I would imagine. And they named it the 7700 package. So that was 7700 GBWR. This is when they still had C-channel frames, so it was a little bit lighter than the 8200 GBWR package. But as you can see, coming up right here, the 77 had all of those items that you can see on the list right there, which went from 1997 to 2003. And then after 2004, it became known as the 8200 GBWR. And in 2004, Ford launched a new remodeled F-150, which came with a fully boxed frame, which was the upgrade from the 77 to the 8200. Most of that was actually the weight of the truck. There might have been a little bit of a benefit there in payload as well, and you didn't have to have an upgraded frame, or the reason why I don't think the brakes are upgraded anymore is that the standard F-150 had better brakes as well. And then you have these years right here, and then you had the relaunch of a new F-150 in 2009. This one's a 163-inch wheelbase. It's an 8-foot bed with the Super Cab. And so for the first 2 years, 2009 and 2010, you had the same old engines as you see here, which are the 4.2, 4.6, 4.63 valve and 5.4 liter 3 valve. So this was what you ended up with, and you can see the payload is substantially beefier in the 8200 GBWR package. So here's just one of the uses that I've used my truck for, is hauling a bunch of dirt. On numerous occasions I've also hauled gravel, lumber, scrap stuff, roofing material, whatever the case is. It handles it all pretty well. Coming up here are the stats for 2012 and up until through 2014, and I'll get into that in a minute. I was surprised that this didn't include 2011, but I guess it is what it is. But as you can see, those figures right there. And then here's another regular cab pickup truck around my same year with an EcoBoost engine, but it also has the 8-foot bed, and as you can see, you can count those lug nuts, and it is in fact a heavy-duty payload package. So here's just another chart showing you these payload breakdowns for cab configuration in 4 or 2-wheel drive versions. As you can see, only the 3.5 liter EcoBoost and the 5.0 liter V8 are the ones that come with this heavy duty payload package. So in 2015, Ford went to an aluminum body F-150. This lowered the GVWR, but increased the payload generally across the line because the drop in the GVWR was more than compensated by the drop of the curb weight of the truck. So with the aluminum body, they shaved at least 700 pounds or more, giving these slightly higher GVWRs. And again, at this point in time, everything is 6 lug. There's no 7 lugs anymore. So this brings us to the final group of F-150s we're going to talk about, which is the 2018 and newer, which introduced the diesel engine. But the real shame here is Ford doesn't do a very good job of packaging their trucks. With the diesel, you cannot get the heavy-duty payload package. You can also not get a 36-gallon fuel tank. What a shame. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. I hope you found the information educational. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you wanted to subscribe, you can subscribe in the upper left-hand corner. Again, I appreciate you watching, and you can leave a comment if you thought I left something out. Thanks, bye-bye.